Hey YouTube, Jason here. Welcome back to another video here on the channel. And today's video is going to be the final video of Tech Week. So in today's video is kind of, you know how you guys saw yesterday's video of me and then Logan, Mason, and Henry talking about you know, like what songs they contributed to on Technology's music, and so on and so forth. Well, in today's video, I'm going to be pretty much talking about how the whole idea of the album came about, how I made it, and how I made some of the songs. So it's going to kind of be a little bit of a detailed video. So without further ado, let's get into it. So first I'm going to talk about pretty much how like the whole idea of the album came about. So how it pretty much all started was I don't even know what it was, but it was like maybe like a year and a half ago. It was around the time when, well, not when I first started making music, but I think it was like, must have been like a couple months after Boss Fight came out, I think, or it was something like that. I don't remember, but, oh yeah, it was around the time I was working on Donut Box, because, it was right after I worked on, it was right after the whole Donut Box thing, and then, by then we already came up with the idea of Dream Descent, but I was talking to my friends and I was like, hey, you know, I like electronic music and need to make, because they've been suggesting the idea to me like ever since I made music or started making music, but I didn't really think of like what I was gonna call it. I didn't know any of the songs, but I just kind of came up with the idea. I was like, hey, you know, I'm gonna make an electronic album because, you know, I like to listen to electronic music and I need to make an electronic album. And I'm like, I have a really good name for it. Let's just call it Technology's Music, because I was like, you know, the songs or the genre, you know, is electronic. So technology, you know, meaning electronic, Technology's music. So that's where the name of the album came from, you know, Technology's music. So that's where I came up with the name of the album. And then it was also around the time last year I came up with like a couple of the tracks, like, because I didn't know, you know, anything about, or I didn't know like, you know, any of the tracks that were going to be on the album yet, and then I also, you know, didn't know anything, like how anything was going to sound, or, you know, any of that stuff. The only tracks that we kind of knew of, around that time was, Lights of the Mall, which me and Mason, we were like, alright, well, you know, this is kind of more of a, we're going to make this a more techno kind of sounding track, so yeah, it should, Mason was like, yeah, it should go in Technology's music, so I was like, yeah, it should go in Technology's music, blah, 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 and then, that's also like, kind of around the time where I thought, of course, the title track, and then Club Maniac, I also, that's where I also came up with, that's around the time I came up with the idea of Club Maniac. And then, yeah, so fast forward, if the summer comes around, we don't really talk about it that much, and then throughout the whole rest of the year, throughout like 2023 and up to even like early 2024, of course there were like some tracks that I thought of, that didn't make it on the album, because throughout this period I was still making Dream Descent, and then of course I had like the creative burnout. So yeah, all that happened, um, and then when I was making Dream Descent, we were also just kind of coming up with random ideas, and I was like, all right, this should be on Technology's Music. Well, maybe we should put this on Technology's Music. And it was like, all right, well, why don't we just put this on Technology? Like, it was just a bunch of random ideas that me and like Mason and Henry like came up with, and it was like, why don't we put that on Technology's Music? And there were so many ideas that we thought of that some of them I don't even remember, and then some of them just didn't make the album because they were just like, it was just like, it's not gonna, it doesn't really fit on the album, or it's just, the album's already getting too long, blah, blah, blah. I didn't want to try to make like a 4 hour, 50 to 100 song album that, because by then, that's not really an album anymore, it's just a compilation of stuff. So I was like, alright, my friend, like, so we came up with the ideas, and then, well, around October, I don't know, I think it was October, I had this recording, and, because we do recordings for lunch and stuff, so it was this one recording, and I was like, alright, I came up with a song for Technology's Music, and it was going to be called I Don't Like Mono. And then I kind of just was singing it, and I'm like, yes, it needs to be on Technology's Music, it's so catchy. So that's where I came up with I Don't Like Mono. And then, throughout the time of me completing Dream Descent, and then, throughout that whole time, I was coming up with, more and more ideas. And then, yeah, so, also Rock With The Music and Ready and Rip, we kind of came up with those ideas a little bit. Like, we didn't know how the song was going to turn out, but we already had, like, the names of the song, like, and a little bit of how it was going to go. Like, we kind of already had that figured out. It was just kind of in our heads, and we just came up with it. And then, also, 3D Printer, that was supposed to, well, the reason why that song exists is because, first off, 3D printers are cool, and then second off, Mason originally had a sample that he recorded of his 3D printer, but, I don't know, like, he had it, and then I guess he lost the audio file, so I had to find a 3D printer sound, to put in that song. So, and so that's how that just came about. And I was like, alright, I knew that was going to be drum and bass, blah, blah, blah. And then we also had keyboard. I just kind of came up with that idea as well. So, yeah, we're just spitballing all these ideas, blah, blah, blah. And then gets to, probably about like May. Yeah, let's say about the end of May. That comes around. Dream Descent is out by then. So, it's already almost the end of the season, season 4. So I'm like, alright, we'll finish up. Because I already kind of had the idea. I was like, alright, well, by the time I reach Dream Descent, season 4, I'll end season 4, it'll probably be about the summertime. And I was like, alright, well, that works. Because I have all summer to record the album. So, Dream Descent comes out. We get to the end of season 4, and do the TOS, blah, blah, blah. Now it's time to record stuff for Technology's Music. So, I start recording, what was the first song I did? Yeah, it was Club Maniac, because that was like the first song I came up with. Oh yeah, and during the whole ideas phase, that's also where I came up with Mid-Tech. And, yeah, so, and then, so yeah, the first song I recorded was Club Maniac. And then after that, I recorded the title track. Um, um, and then, what did I record afterwards? Wasn't it Acid Box? Because I didn't record anything for like a week. Yeah, it must have been Acid Box. The way I recorded like the acid techno songs is I used the deep house-based synth because that's the closest thing in GarageBand that sounds like a 303 kind of sound, like you would get in old school acid techno, and that was kind of the sound I was going for. So I was going for that sound, and I just put the arpeggiator on, just set the pattern, play the notes, and then it'll just loop those notes as I'm recording, and then I just mess with the controls of the synth throughout the song to make it, sound. Mess with the filter, mess with the attack, mess with the decay, resonance, cutoff, and all that stuff. So Acid Box and then Mid-Tech, and then Brain Fog. Brain Fog, I kind of did the same thing, but it was really underground and really good underground techno. I knew there was going to be a porch song on there, but I didn't know what it was going to be called. So I just kind of just titled it the name of the genre, Porch. It was like, alright, let's just keep it simple, Porch. And then the idea for software versus hardware is kind of an idea that I think Henry came up with. Because I was like, alright, I want to try to do, because, I want to do the electronic genres, but I want to combine some of them, I still want to be, outside the box, but if you listen to the album, you kind of see a different side of me, like, I'm doing electronic music, but I'm still Jason McDaniel. I'm still doing stuff that other artists wouldn't do outside the box. So, software versus hardware, I was like, alright, well, I want to try to make a melodic sounding dubstep song which has a heavy drop that sounds more trance-like during the build-up. So I was originally just going to call it trance dub, and I'm like, alright, well, that's kind of just generic. So Henry was like, alright, well, why not software versus hardware? And I'm like, yeah, that really works, actually. Shift, I also just kind of came up with too, as well. Oh yeah. Dreamtime. This is actually an interesting one, because, the thing with Dreamtime is it was actually an idea that, that Henry came up with. It was like, it was actually a song that was originally not even supposed to be on the regular album. It was supposed to be on the deluxe, and I'm like, why don't we just put it on the regular album? Because it was like, yeah. And this was before I even made the song. It was like, so Henry originally came up with the idea, like, the name of the track, we should call it Dreamtime, and I was like, yeah, that's a really good name for a song. I'm like, it needs to be uplifting trance. So I made, that uplifting trance, and then I was like, well, we're making a song called Dreamtime, why not use some movie samples from Inception, where they are talking about, the idea of Dreamtime. So, I grabbed those samples, put them in the song, screen recorded them, saved them as a separate audio file, and then, put them in the song. I also did the same thing for The Matrix, which is a really good song. If you listen to the album, it's also Big Room. I really like this album. All the songs are really good. And it's not like the other albums where you
Power up.
where you kind of just you know have you have good songs, but you also have the ones that are kind of bad. There are all kinds of good jams that you will find when you listen to this record, from all the different electronic genres. House, techno, uh, dubstep, with Software versus Hardware, Ready and Rip, which is metal. Um, Metal step, it kind of reminds you of that vibe, like Time to Wrestle, or Ride Up, or one of those early Jason songs that you would hear, um, where I try to combine those genres. Um, what else is there to say? I mean, there was a lot of work that went into this album. I did like that I had the whole summer because I was at or I wasn't at school, so I had like pretty much all the time in the world. So I just kind of spent, you know, I would spend like during that whole summer, I would spend a day working on a song, and then finish that song, and then usually if I felt in the mood, I would work on another song, the next day, um, or spend a couple days, depending on what I was doing, and then, not work on a song um, for that time. So um, that really helped, um, because I was able to do work for the album, but I was also working on standalone songs, and then uh, other stuff for the channels, for both of the channels. Um, so that kind of helped. Plus, I also had my time. Plus, I also had time to do other stuff outside of this channel as well. Um, so I really liked that I got the summer to record all this, because that's when I could put out my best work. And with Dream Descent, I kind of started that during the school year, and then plus I was kind of just feeling a little bit of the burnout. Didn't want to really create anything. Didn't want to really work on anything for a while. Plus, it was during the school year, and plus, like, it was just like, I don't know. And I mean, it's still an alright album, but there's just a lot of experimental stuff on there. I was trying to make songs, that were trying to replicate dreams and, all that stuff. Whereas with this album, it's just like, alright, well, let's just make whatever the hell we want. It just has to sound electronic, And that's kind of a little bit how I felt with Boss Fight, too. I was just like, alright, it just has to sound Boss Fight-ish. So I feel like with my albums, there's always kind of like a theme to them, Whereas, like, we could talk about Couch Potato. That's supposed to be more chill. It's supposed to signify, calm and relax and, chill, because, couch. Whereas, Boss Fight is supposed to be a, boss fight. And then we have Technology Music. That's supposed to be, electronic and blah, blah, blah. And then we have Dream Descent, which is just there. So I feel like to every one of these albums, there's always kind of a theme to them. And I would say if you're going to listen to, like, my albums, listen to Technology's music. Listen to the full album stream if you really want the experience, if you want the immersive experience, because it is great to listen to these songs individually, but it is way more cool also if you just listen to it as an experience, as the album. And um, I feel like, with all the other albums, it'll be, it's great to just listen to them in the playlist, or maybe, maybe in the future I will do like a stream for Boss Fight or Dream Descent, and I might do that like on their anniversaries, you know. Um, but yeah, it's always a great experience to listen to an album in full. Um, and you know, I feel like of course, there's gonna be some songs that are out of place. Like if you go from like Shift to Ready and Rip, it's kind of like a really different vibe, and it kind of does feel a little bit out of place. Um, but still, it's still kind of works. All I gotta say is, if you are making music and you want, like, and you're making an album and you have to make a track list, all I'll say is put the songs into spots, like in the album, that you know that it will work. Like, don't go put a bunch of like heavy, like, let's just say, like, for example, let's say you put like 5 like heavy dub tracks, or even like metal tracks, for example. You put like 5 or 6 of those songs like in a row on the album, and then you just like change it up to like this light, moody, ambient stuff. That's not gonna work. It did kind of work with Dream Descent, just because that's, you know, it's supposed to get darker and darker as, you're listening to the album. The dreams are supposed to get darker and darker. But, but it just has to work for, what the album is about. But I also do feel like if you listen to this album as well, you'll find on the earlier tracks, I feel like, more the techno, more the trance, more even like the, I don't even know, like the EDM, even, big room techno. You'll find all that stuff like in the first half of the album. And then when you get to the later stuff, it's like, alright, we still have a little bit of techno on here, because like Shift, you'll get rock with the music, then Porch, and then something like Software versus Hardware, like where it's like dub, and you wouldn't be expecting that like that late in the album, and it was like, alright, well now we're getting Shift, so we're gonna go back to our techno. Alright, well now we're gonna go back to dub. Alright, and then we're gonna mix it with metal, and then now we're gonna go to drum and bass. So if you listen to the album like that, it's like you're not expecting, after you hear about 10 songs of techno and trance, for it to like just switch on you like that, but it works. And then, you go back to your underground stuff with the acid test. Alright, well now we're gonna go back to drum and bass. And now we're gonna go to techno, and then we're gonna slow it down for the last song. So it's like, it's just like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's just like a surprise kind of, mixed in there. It's like, alright, well, you've heard all these techno tracks for more time for like the first half of the album. Alright, we're gonna switch it up to Rock with the Music, which is something completely different. And that's a good song, Rock with the Music. All the good songs in the there are a bunch of good songs on the album. And it was fun recording it. It was fun writing it. It was fun, producing it, writing the track list down. It was also fun, going on stream, where me and Henry, we worked on the songs, and worked on some of the songs, and yeah. So there is not enough good things I could say about this album. There are too many good things to say too many that I can even mention in this video. Like, I could yap about this album for, you know, hours. But, I think I'm gonna probably, I think I'm gonna probably end it there. Because, I think we talked about enough. We talked about, how the album was recorded. We've talked about, the different genres that are in the album. We've talked about, how it's kind of a different side of me, but I like to, still think outside the box. So you still have those classic Jason elements on there, and then you have, your different styles, different sounds from different people, because this is my first album where I've done kind of, collabs, where I've had features, like for example with Logan on first track Supersonic Super Tower in the Super Cyber City, me versus Henry kind of on Rock with the Music and Ready and Rip, and then we have Mason with Lights at the Mall, and then we just have all my stuff that I created for the album, and it was like, what a perfect mix, to have some collabs and features to show off some different sounds. That's what makes this album good. But anyway, I'm gonna wrap it up now. So if you like the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment letting me know what you think of the album. And if you haven't listened to it, either go listen to it in the playlist or go check out the album premiere that premiered yesterday on my channel. So it's should be called Technologies Music full album stream. And then, if you want to go find the Technologies Music playlist, you just go onto the playlist tab on my channel and look for Technologies Music, and it should be there. And it should have about 20 songs. Oh yeah, and just kind of another thing is I wanted to kind of limit it to 20 songs because Dream Descent was 24 songs, and that didn't even have a deluxe. Which 25 songs are that's going to be the deluxe. It was still a long album because some of the songs are really long, especially some of the underground stuff. But I was just like, all right, well, we have so many ideas. A lot of them don't even make it on the album, and half of them I don't even remember. But it was like, all right, we're going to limit it to 20 songs, because it was already getting long enough. So, but yeah, that was kind of another thing I wanted to mention. But anyway, I think I'm going to end the video now. So if you like the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.